only thing else I get to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
So when you think about the history of the Dallas Cowboys, the 5 Super Bowls, all those players that are in the Hall of Fame.
The Dallas Cowboys are a marvel of consistency.
Coach Landry and then Coach Johnson and Jerry Jones, and he's taken all of this to a whole new level. America's team and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, the first billion-dollar football stadium, the hole in the roof so God can look down on his Cowboys. A whole lot of little things over a real long period of time that really have helped establish the brand. Our job is to keep driving it.
I think part of the richness of what we do is getting to imagine with the client. Imagine what is and what could be.
It takes planning to do that. There are over 200 fan engagement touch points in the master story plan that is the Cowboys headquarters. You can also plan an audience journey by taking them through the touchstones of the heritage, the lore, the history of a team.
Advent found ways to use all the nooks and crannies as you walk through the space and have these different experiences. It was very smartly done. We have a lot of great history, so they had a lot to work with.
Allowing a user to easily find and in turn connect with a storyline that is relevant to them. I think that is one of the great powers of digital.
Somebody's gonna come in and connect with whatever that is that we're designing on an emotional level. So it has to be first and foremost about that. That's why storytelling is so important.
Great history begets great storytelling, and that's what Advent really helped us do. They really got embedded in the organization to really understand our brand first, which I think would be critical for someone who's trying to tell a brand story across a 91-acre mixed use. We knew that we were gonna have our corporate partners, and the real way that our partners wanted to join us here at the Star was around fan-centric branded spaces. That was part of the evolution of the relationship with Advent, and then we created some real revenue opportunities by having Advent pre-designed spaces that we could then take to our corporate partners, and that really clicked well for all of us. When I think about the Texas Lottery entry to the Ford Center, it's a great example. It tells a story, it ties us to the high school football that's being played in the Star. And when we think about the Tostitos Championship Plaza, which is used by families and kids and was a great collaboration with Advent on how to create an interesting space that one of our corporate partners would really embrace. After working with Advent here at the Star, we took that partnership down to AT&T Stadium in a couple really big ways. We were involved in an extension discussion with Miller. Really, the idea was how can we create the greatest tailgate zone in sports, and we think the Miller Lighthouse accomplished that. Advent really helped us with that design. It's something both the Cowboys and Miller are really proud of.
How do you develop a sponsor activation place, a beer garden? And how do you put it there so that it looks like it's always been there? Well, the way you do it is you really do what is a driver of ours, which is the research. You have to understand what holds those two brands together and what the fans are really looking for, and they do intersect.
When we meet a client, we're always thinking of ways for a donor or a sponsor to invest in that project. It's almost like it's self-funded.
Team, sponsor, fan. That triumvirate has needs and they overlap. And the sweet spot tells you everything you need to know to drive success.
Miller is about hanging out with friends. It's about encouraging a sense of social connection. Well, the Cowboys brand is about that too. So we programmed that space with various zones that reinforce various elements of both brands. So there's a sculptural piece. Fans can stand inside the Blue Star. It's the perfect spot to take a selfie. Well, that's brought to you by Miller, and it allows for social sharing so that there spreads the sense of FOMO where you want to go where that Blue Star is, and the only place you can get it is in the Miller Lighthouse.
I think everybody that's in the business of sports entertainment is interested in how monetization has occurred around an opportunity like this.
Would you believe that beer sales in AT&T Stadium are up 80% as a result of that plan and that activation, Miller Lighthouse? And even more, liquor sales are up 200% because that activation, not a commercial, but is a natural part of the experience at AT&T Stadium.
The Ford platform has always been kind of a signature item of the stadium because when the stadium was built, Ford put cars up on that platform. Ford engaged Advent this past year, and it's just a wonderfully done refresh. It really shows that Advent has the ability to work with a brand and a corporate partner on an activation like that, just as they did with our brand on the activation here at the Star. So we're all really proud of it. Ford, I know, is super thrilled with how it turned out.
You've got a captive audience of over 100,000 people in that stadium for football, so what can we do to attract attention to that area? And so that plays out with cool Cowboys blue LED lights that are activated when there are touchdowns. So that flash of light directs eyes and they're seeing the Ford brand, the Cowboys brand together. It really works well for what they were trying to do.
It's certainly a bunch of wow moments, and I think it really does speak to the organization that we aspire to be.
We were able to measurably lift brand equity by 35%. That means that consumers are more likely to buy the products of the sponsors at a 1/3 increase over the competitors as a result of the interaction they're having with that sponsor activation. That's the payoff. And that measurement shows that this sort of planning work of designing an experience that will move people works.
When I think about the relationship with Advent, I just have immense pride. Advent really comes at everything with trying to have a great understanding of the brand and what you're trying to achieve. So they're great listeners, and everything starts with that. So you go down a journey together, and we could not be any more pleased with the result.